automotive industry, please welcome Tianna Mick. At 19 years old, she was consistently the top grossing salesperson, averaging 20+ units and $10,000 per month in personal income. Tianna is globally recognized for her award-winning website, T Got Your Keys, voted the #1 personal website in the automotive industry. Tianna is an NADA convention speaker, awarded #1 influential female car salesperson, TikTok influencer with over 3.8 million views, guest of Brad Lee's Dropping Bombs podcast, graduate of Allies A-List Summit Academy, speaker at the Florida Independent Automobile Dealers Association, True Cars True Talk panel discussion leader concerning diversity, published in Digital Dealer magazine, and reoccurring digital dealer speaker, Internet Sales 20 Group speaker, and now Chief Marketing Officer at Dealer Center. General Motors Corporate invited Tianna Mick to speak on their behalf on the importance of diversity, realities and economics within the LGBTQ+ community for the automotive industry. T Got Your Keys is a known industry name for being an expert at showroom sales, lead and referral generation, customer satisfaction, specializing in personal and business branding. Remember, T Got Your Keys. T got your keys to success.
Thank you, everybody. It's so amazing to be back at the Digital Dealer stage, as you heard in the video, right? And just super excited to be here introducing myself, just because I have been a reoccurring Digital Dealer speaker, as you heard in the video, but my team did such an amazing job putting that video together. So thank you to my team. So I am Tianna Mick. Well, really Tianna Mick Bradley, but the Bradley is silent. Because if I did say that, you may recognize me from my dad, the entrepreneur, TV star, and internet sales pioneer, Sean B. Bradley. You see, from such a young age, I knew that I always wanted to be successful. I just really didn't want the help from my parents. I mean, a lot of Gen Z people think like that too. So honestly, I just was like, I'm not doing anything with the automotive industry. I'm never doing this car business thing. So I went to college, right? Probably like many of you did as well. Nobody really kind of planned to be here. And it was awesome for a little bit, right, having that college life. But I quickly realized how much my degree was actually costing me and how little in the end my job that I was going to get was actually going to be paying me. So I had to do the hardest thing a teenager in college could do. I get on the phone, I dial my parents' number, take a deep breath, and I tell them, I'm done with college, I'm done with this minimum wage job, I want to get a job selling cars, and you were right. I had to tell my parents they were right. I mean, that's probably still one of the hardest things I had to do till this day, even harder than being on this stage right here, okay? Now, fast forward, I am in the industry, and I've been selling cars for about 3.5 years, but at only 19 years old, I was generating my own business by branding myself T Got Your Keys. I told my customers, my friends call me T, so that's what you're gonna call me. So T Got Your Keys, I was averaging around 20 units a month selling Buick and GMC, but consistently outgrossing those doing 30+ units a month. So when my dealership fully embraced everything that I was doing, my branding, I had Google Analytics, Facebook ads, they made more money, right? Not only that, I made more money, and my customers were super happy about it. The funny thing about it is, I'm not the only one doing this, and I'm not even the best car saleswoman doing this. As a matter of fact, I'm not even the best car saleswoman that's a minority doing this. So that's why I actually want to bring up the #1 car saleswoman in the world right now, Crissy the Car Fairy Burton. Crissy, please come up to the stage. Crissy is a sales representative that specializes in special finance at Hubler Chevrolet with the Hubler Automotive Group. And she's going to be joining us today in a Q&A fireside chat with discovering exactly how she sold 74 cars. Did you have a good ride in, everything like that?
I did. I'm excited to be here. Like, this whole experience is just amazing. So thank you guys for having me.
Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit of your background before we kind of get into the nitty-gritty of everything.
So a little bit about me is, my name is Crissy Burton, but I'm known as Crissy the Car Fairy. I've been selling cars for 6 years. Been in the automotive industry a total of 7 years. And I came in, because I was someone who was in a situation where I needed a vehicle, all right? And I saw an ad on Facebook that was promoting no money down and no payment for 90 days. So, of course, I reach out, and I received a follow-up like, hey, are you still coming in? I'm like, yeah, I need a car. So I go into a dealership, and I worked with a guy named Dion Crenshaw, and horrible credit, no money down, desperate, I need a car, right? Now, I don't have a testimony to say, oh, I got a car in that situation. My mom had to step in,
Right.
and co-sign and get the vehicle for me. But being there for 9 hours, him at the time being a salesperson, we just built such great rapport. And I kept joking, like, I want to work here, right?
And then you did.
Literally, not immediately. So I was just so impressed by my experience getting a car that I posted it on Facebook. So then I started recommending everyone to go to him, and we kind of built a bird dog relationship where I would send customers to him and he would send me a referral check. And then I decided to leave my job because I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not happy at this job. So I was off work for 2 months. And then he called one day and said, hey, come on in. I went in, I spoke to the general manager, the general sales manager, and they're like, when can you start? Right now, because I'm broke.
Like, I need a car and I can start right now.
No, I had a car. I got a car payment now, and I'm broke, and I need to make sure that I can pay my bills and this car payment. So, but I'm excited because literally on the first day, I just came in. I had no knowledge of what a car salesperson was, and he literally sat me at a desk, gave me his iPad, gave me a notepad and a pen. This is what you do, post this status, post it on your, copy and paste it and post it on your page, and then follow up and confirm that these customers are coming. And literally, they were just swarming in.
So it sounds like he basically had a process kind of
Yeah.
already laid out,
He
and
had a
you
process.
followed it.
Yeah, he had a process, and, I immediately adapted to it because, and I think it was so easy for me because I was there as a customer at the time, once upon a time, and now I'm back here selling cars. So, I quickly adapted. I knew nothing about the process of, dealing with prospects, asking questions. I'm literally just going with the flow.
And that's why you're here, right? You sell 74 cars a month.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to get into, because the first question is kind of what we heard, right? Is, your story is still unfolding, but how did it begin? So you needed a car, you were a customer, you went into the dealership and you said, you know what, this was an amazing experience. I want to help people just how you helped me.
Yeah.
So with that, then the general manager, GSM, they all showed you the ropes. You had a process, you stuck to it, and you just started selling cars and instantly started seeing success right from there?
Not necessarily. That's not how it happened, actually. I came in to be an assistant.
Oh, so you came in for an assistant job?
Yeah, I was supposed to be like a BDC assistant girl, and the general manager literally came to me and took me behind his desk and said, hey, this is the pay plan, and I'm just like, okay, I don't understand what you're saying. But all I heard was him say that, you're tracking to make 6 figures.
Wow. How did that make you feel when you heard that? You were literally tracking 6
I
figures.
was like, oh, okay, it sounds good.
Did you realize the potential that car sales had in the moment
No,
you
I
began?
didn't. I literally was just someone who, at the time, like I said, I was just in a place where I'm like, what's next for me? So I saw an opportunity, and I kind of came into it just eager and hungry to want, learn, because I wanted more for myself. I wanted more for my children. So
speak on that then, I guess. So how long did it take you from when you first started selling cars to actually start seeing, the success for even breaking 30 cars, right? And then how long did it take you from 0 to 30, then from that 30 to 70? How long did that take you?
So it's not something that happened overnight, but I guess I didn't know what was happening when I was in the process of doing it. So I think that me and him alone sold 13 cars that week.
Wow.
And so I was literally just going with the flow. Like I said, I don't understand what's happening. I don't know anything about incentives, and all this commission is new to me. So I didn't realize what I was literally setting myself up to receive. And it's so crazy because when I first got in it, for the first month, I was on they were confused whether or not I was BDC or if I was sales. So at the time, I was receiving draw checks. I didn't know what that was,
Wow.
which was literally $400.
I'm sure the audience knows what draw checks
Yeah.
are, right? It's basically, if you don't make enough in commissions, you owe the dealership money.
And I didn't know that. I was getting $400 checks a week, you know, and that happened for a month. But I was literally working every single day, like the last one to leave the dealer, like, you know, and it didn't discourage me. I kept going. You know, I had questions like, is this what I'm supposed to be getting paid? And, you know, they kept assuring me, we'll figure it out. And they did. Like, literally a month later, I received like 3 large checks. You know, so
Earned large checks.
Yeah.
Right. So then, because you've been in automotive, just because I've known you for a little bit, for
Yeah.
a total of 6 years now?
Yeah, I've been selling cars for 6 years.
So how long have you been, I guess, the number one, right? How long of those
So
6 years?
my success, like, it kind of like, you know, was like this. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't like always glorious. But in 2018, you know, tragedy happened for me. And it's crazy because I literally experienced a death. My sister got killed. And I kid you not, in 4 days, I sold 16 cars.
Wow, with dealing with that on your conscience.
I think we closed the month at like 32 cars that month.
Wow.
You
So do you
know.
feel like that motivated you more?
I think so. You know, I'm a firm believer that it kind of like placed me in a position to just, you know, instead of falling and sinking, which is what typically people do, but I literally elevated, you know, and it not only changed my life, but it was changing my children's life. Like, I was making so much money, and at the time I was grieving, so I was like, oh, I can't spend it, so I'm saving. And at the end of the year, I was able to take my kids to Disney World.
Wow. Well,
You
I'm
know.
so happy to hear that you obviously used that to find motivation
Yeah.
and inspiration. So I guess for being the number one car saleswoman in the world, right, you would say maybe 3 years, in the last 3 years
Yeah,
of
for
your
the past
career?
3,
So it took a
honestly.
long time to get to that level, right?
Yeah, it took, I mean, literally from 2018, which is when I became the car fairy, up until now, like, you know, I've, you know, been growing more and more, and I'm blessed and honored.
And that
have
kind of
that
leads us to kind of like our next topic here
Yeah.
is obviously is how do you build your pipeline, right? So, you know, you, Crissy the Car Fairy, you don't specifically work with top credit, you know, tier customers. Describe, you know, how you really kind of build your pipeline and especially with the certain customers that you market yourself to.
So again, my pipeline is literally, you know, special finance. You know, I will never forget where I came from. Like I said, I was my customers at a point of time. So, you know, I kind of do the same processes. Like, you know, I'm advertising, you know, that I'm dealing with no driver's license, repossessions, bankruptcies, upside down car loans, you know, because that's what people have, right?
Right. So you're not only, it's like, so some dealers almost like stay away from bankruptcies, bad credit,
Yeah.
no credit, but you encourage that, and
Yeah.
by selling 74 cars a month, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
you're retaining all of those people. So is that what you're doing?
Yeah, and it's not just you know, I was taught that we're not just selling cars, you know, we're educating our customers as well because a lot of them they just don't know.
Right.
You know, they didn't know that this was what was on my credit and this is what I needed to do to, you know, establish to have better credit to put me in a better situation. You know,
So is that what you do when you have your customers? Instead of doing, okay, I know you have bad credit, sit down with a credit app, let's just do this process. What are you doing differently?
No, like I said, it's the same experience that I received. So, you know, this is what your credit looks like, you know, and based off of this, you know, this is what I can potentially do for you.
Being transparent,
Yeah,
open.
I'm super transparent with my customers. You know, I don't just pull them in because everyone advertises. You see a lot of dealers like, hey, we want to buy your car. We want to get you no money down and, you know, this interest rate. And of course, I'm going to say, oh, well, that sounds good. You know, and then I'm going to come in and you also didn't mention that I have to have certain credit to have it. So with me, it's kind of different. You know, once you come in, the first thing I do is ask about your credit situation. You know, and if you are looking to purchase a vehicle that day, of course we're going to pull credit. You know, and if your credit is something that I think that you should know about, I say, hey, this is what your score is, and it looks like your credit is this way because this is what's showing on your report. So now I'm educating, you know, and I'm really making my customers comfortable, you know, and they're not as discouraged as they were before they came to me. And yeah, like, and then, you know, I get everything that I need. You know, we collect information, do the credit application, and then I go to work. I send it to the banks, and then, we kind of go from there. So they're
amazing.
sitting there like, oh, I'm excited. It sounds like you can really help me. And ultimately, I usually can if it makes sense.
And you are, because even if you're not in the moment helping them with a vehicle right now, right, you're educating them. You're actually taking that extra step that I want to say maybe 80% of dealers aren't doing is just educating them on their score. How can you get a better score? Are you kind of like a credit advisor at times?
I can't advertise that that's what I am.
Unless you're certified,
that's
right? Which you
right.
can be certified credit advisor.
Right, but that's what I do. I literally educate my customer. I don't just, kick them out the door. I say, hey, if you get this, taken care of, or if you like, how some banks, they're like, oh, you have to be on your job for at least 6 months, and then we'll consider it. Okay, well, come back and see me on this date, because it shows that you started your job on this date, which we verified. So come back on this date at this same job, and we can retry.
So you give them a game plan. They don't just go into your dealership, okay, you can't get a car, let me, just pass on you, and just, you actually say, okay, this is your score, this is why, and I'm actually going to I need you to come back in 6 months, right? Because this is, and you actually take the time to explain to them, I'm sure, why that's beneficial to the banks and for them and everything like that as
and
well.
it honestly, it works for me. Like now, I have some customers who have been reaching out, from beginning of the month, and they had a situation. I'm like, this is what you need, and they're about to come back to me this week to get a car. So.
Well, I mean, that's absolutely amazing. You're retaining obviously a lot of customers who need your help, right? And like you said, you were in that situation. So I guess with that being said, how many units would you say estimated would you say that you had sold last year?
So last year, I just had a baby.
Congratulations! Can we get a round of applause for the new addition to Crissy's family?
So
She is here.
I have a 6-month-old, so I spent most of last year pregnant. I was still selling cars and still dominating and being the number one.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure there's a lot of people at the dealership that look pregnant and they're not, and they're not even selling that much.
No, the day before I delivered, I literally sold and delivered 3 cars, and then went in labor and had my baby the next day. And I had a lot of days, last year where I sold 6 cars in a day, 7 cars in a day by myself.
Right, so that's what I was going to say too. You hear all of these people, they say, oh yeah, I'm number one, I sell 70 car, 80 car, whatever, but they have an assistant, they got somebody pulling up their cars, they got somebody doing the paperwork for them. You do that all yourself, right?
I do everything. I literally clean cars. I gas them up. Like, I have no assistance. I put the plates on the car. I think I might have carpets on them because I do it so much. But literally, I literally have a process, and it's literally the same process that I received 6 years ago.
And I love, so I guess I'll ask you is there anything that you did to either enhance your process or give your Crissy the Car Fairy spin to it? I mean, we hear the name Crissy the Car Fairy, right? Where did that name come from? Why is it important? Why do you want to give the Crissy Car Fairy experience to everybody?
So again, back in 2018, when my career just skyrocketed, I literally had a customer, and I just saw her comment, like, how Facebook has memories. So I looked at a comment from 5 years ago, and she was like, Crissy the Car Fairy. And literally, she had a situation where she was upside down in her car. I remember the car. It was like a 2011 Chevy Malibu. And at the time, I worked at a Kia dealership. They had incentives. So me and my mentor, Dion, we worked super hard, and we got her in a Kia Optima. And she couldn't believe it, like a brand new car.
Yeah.
I came in here, discouraged, no money down. But at the time, the Optima had a large enough rebate and incentive that soaked up most of her negative equity. So she was able to drive away in a brand new Kia Optima. And she couldn't believe it. But, she told her friend about it, and her friend came back a couple of days later and got the same deal. But literally, I was like, I don't know what I want to be. People were calling me the car lady, but she was like, you're a fairy. And it kind of stuck to me.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll just call myself Crissy the Car Fairy.
That's awesome. I love that. And kind of like my brand too, T Got Your Keys and you're Crissy the Car Fairy. It's not like you sell Chevrolets now, right? And you just said, oh, I used to sell Kia. I used to sell, now I sell Chevy. I used to sell, Buick and GMC. Our names are not tied to one brand. So did that also kind of come to mind when you were like, well, because I'm a car fairy, I can sell any car, used car, new car, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, like now, I'm with Hubler Chevrolet. I've only been with this company. I came here after I had the baby. I left Hyundai because Hubler, they wanted me to help them grow. their store, which is what I'm doing right now. So, you know, I left Hyundai, I came to Chevy. I kid you not, like, my customers are right behind me. Like, oh, they're gonna follow me wherever I go, literally. You know, I have a very loyal customer base, and it's just because of the experience that I give my customers.
That's amazing.
So.
Well, that kind of leads us to what do you do specifically, right? Crissy the Car Fairy, you have a process, you have something, you know, your managers, and I believe that's a huge thing, right? Managers, there's a system from the top, like literally as you came in, he said, go on Facebook, make these business accounts, make these social accounts, follow these pages, like these posts, a complete process. So how did you continue that process, and how do you evolve and strengthen that? Because it's 2023 now, right?
Right.
We have things like, you know, you could be in the VR, there's Oculus. Like, what are you doing to constantly evolve or strengthen your brand and what you did for people like your customers? You know what I mean?
So the good thing about me is I was kind of like old-fashioned, where I literally was only using my personal Facebook page, you know, for years. And then again, my mentor, he created me a business page called Crissy the Car Fairy that was attached to my personal page back in 2020. So then I started, you know, doing advertisements. I started posting ads, and then I started paying for ads on Facebook, you know, and we were spending like maybe $200-300 a month and reaching like 60,000, 100,000 people.
What? Did you hear that, guys? I mean, you guys spend how much on advertising? How much were you spending a month?
Maybe $300-400.
Okay, $300 or $400 on, imagine yourself, right? Let's say you have a budget. Okay, I'm gonna spend 2,000 of our ad spend actually investing into our people. And I'm sure that did make you more inclined to stay at that dealership who was helping you out, right?
No, it wasn't the dealership that was doing it. It was
you were doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, you were doing it. Well, then that's even better because you're investing in yourself.
Yeah.
And you're actually putting your own money, but they had a process. So that's what I would encourage you guys. Either one, have a process for your team to actually do and follow so that they can invest in themselves.
Yeah.
Or two, invest in them so that they can create a process, because you can't ask them for both. You can't ask Crissy to invest in herself and create the process for you. You can, but you're not going to get these 74 unit a month females on the showroom floor. But so with your process and your brand, what are you doing? Are you using any video, any social media to enhance the experience that your customers have?
So every car that I sell, my customer gets a picture. And it started off where I had to ask. Now they come ready. They're like, look, I came dressed up.
I want to take this
ready
picture.
To take my picture. And we take pictures and we do videos because I post testimonials with permission, you know, and then if they're not my friend on social media, I, you know, become their friend. I tag them so that everyone's able to see that they just purchased the car, whether they're my friend or theirs.
So every customer gets a picture, video, you tag them, and then I'm sure they share it on their socials.
They do. A lot of them share it. They share it to their group chats. I'm actually a part of a group on Facebook that has 46,000 members. And I kid you not, I don't do any advertisement that's paid because majority of, I would say 90% of my customers are coming from that group right now.
Because you're involved in the different Facebook groups and
I'm
things
in a
like
lot of
that.
groups, but I mean, I'm at a place now where, you know, the word of mouth, like my experiences are, you know, talked about. I literally just had someone make a status and said, hey, I'm looking for Crissy. She has a black suit on in her profile picture.
Yeah, you showed me the
Everyone
post.
started tagging my name, and now this post, just within a couple of hours, has 100 likes on it and 40 comments.
Wow.
You know? So just...
That's amazing.
Like I said, I have different processes. It was kind of old-fashioned. Now I have social media. I have CrissyTheCarFairy.com through Build a Brand. But I'm literally just plastered everywhere where I don't have to spend a penny to advertise.
In the beginning, obviously, there's some initial, you know, oomph needed. So with that,
it was, like I said, it took for me to spend the money to get myself really
and some time, right? Almost 4 years
to
reach success.
Yeah, it didn't happen overnight, but like I said, in 2020, once we converted to a business page, I kind of grew.
So that kind of leads us to it. So with using Facebook business page, Instagram, what other social medias?
I use Snapchat, TikTok, I mean,
What do you do on Snapchat and TikTok
so
specifically?
basically, I just do the same processes. I post the pictures. If we do a video, it's followed behind because everyone's always watching, right? I don't really have to say anything, but if you post it consistently, so if someone sees that I post literally back to back 5 or 6 cars in one day, they're like, oh, she's really the car fairy.
Right.
So, that is something that's very beneficial. Just engagement. A lot of people ask me, hey, Crissy, how do you get so many customers to come here? Every single day you come to work, I don't see you pick up a phone. You don't have to call anyone. I'm like, I'm engaging. I'm showing that I'm not just all talk. I have the proof that I literally sold these cars.
So, and then you're actually tagging the person, because I see a lot of dealerships, they do put the customer photo up, but they don't actually tag the customer. They just put their name, right? And they hope that the customer finds it. They hope that the customer goes onto the dealership, and they hope that but why are we gonna hope if we could literally try to find the customer, right? Which if we sold them a car, we got to that point, I hope we have, their social media information, things like that. So you're tagging them so you can get that extra engagement. I think that's really important for you dealers. If you're not posting, definitely start posting, and every single time. And you need to be tagging your customers, and you also need to be tagging your salespeople too, because then they can go back and they can find you, Crissy, and they can see you help so many other people, and that's just going to build more trust into going to you versus anybody else.
Yeah.
So then we already mentioned this. We understand that you don't work with top, tier credit customers. So you do work with, bad credit, no credit, credit challenge customers. How do you get them to trust you, like you, buy from you, and then you ultimately help them? I know you see yourself as an educator and things like that, but what do you do specifically to really help them? Is it any outside resources that are helping you do this?
So when I first got in the business, majority of my customer base was challenge credit. Now, like I said, because I have a process that I have always followed. So the goal is to always, build credit, because that's what our banks do. They're not lend chart companies.
So you're not looking to sell a car. You're telling the customer base, I'm like looking to help you build credit. I'm not here to sell you a car. Like, you're here to get a car, but
yeah, and that's the thing I like about working at a major franchise dealership. Like, I have customers that are technically buy here, pay here customers that I'm able to put in, a vehicle through real banks and lenders that are reporting to your credit. So I'm educating them, make your payments on time, 6, 12 months, whatever, however long it needs to take. Come back, let's revisit this to see if you can either trade out, refinance, whatever the goal is, And I have a lot of customers, who some of them come to me and they are vehicle specific. They have a car picked out. And I work super hard to see if I can get them that. But I'm not going to lie and say, oh, it just always works out that way, right?
yeah.
So, I know you came in for Equinox, but I got to sell you this cruise,
But you explain to them in an educational way.
Yeah, this is why you have to get this, And then if you do this and come back and see me, we can get you to the end goal.
Right.
Which literally is how it happens. So like I said, I was doing subprime, but now I have a lot of repeat customers who are more mid-prime and, prime customers.
Because you took them from that subprime level to...
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Right. I love that. I love that. Well, then, you must have an open schedule, right? You must not have any kids. You must, just come in, you just work all day, leave, and that's how you sell cars all day, right?
No, I'm a single mom. I have 3 kids.
3 kids and a single mom. Okay, we can need a round of applause for that, being a saleswoman with 3 kids and being a single mom, and with a newborn, right?
Yeah, I have a newborn. I have a daughter that'll be 11 next month, and a son that's about to be 14.
Wow.
They're super active. They're in sports. They have things to do. And then we like to travel as well. So the beauty of my
career... And you're here?
Yeah, and I'm here. So the beauty of my career is, like, my customers, we have a system to where they kind of work around what I'm doing. So I don't have to work Monday through Saturday,
right?
9 to 9.
You're like, these are my hours. If you want to see Crissy the Car Fairy, then that's when you're going to see Crissy the Car Fairy.
Yeah, you kind of got to pull a ticket.
Yeah.
To come see me.
So do you feel like maybe, like you said, you don't have, you do have a full pack schedule, but you don't have all this excess time on your hands. So do you feel like maybe being a little not hard to get, but a little hard to reach sometimes because you are working with so many customers? Is that beneficial to you? Do you find that not beneficial for your brand?
So for me, the way it works and what I have set up for myself is I do a lot of pre-qualifications. So I have processes where I've sold cars over the phone. You know, I have customers where we literally did everything virtual. You know, with the pandemic, you know, we kind of had to go that way. A lot of people did not want to come into the dealership to get a car, but the cars have to still be sold. So, you know, we've had processes where, like I said, we do everything over the phone. We do pre-qualifications. If they want to see the car, I send a link, or I'll send a video or do a whole walk around. You can FaceTime me, and we can literally, like, go, you know, do a whole tutorial. And you're like, do you like this? I'll test drive it for you. So you can hear it, you know, and usually, like, it works that way. And they're like, okay, I'll take it. And then I close them. Most of my customers, I close them before I even show them a car. So they know exactly what they're going to be paying estimated before they even see a car.
Wow.
Like, I really don't like to show a car and get you hyped up, now I don't know if you can get it. So a lot of my customers understand that my process is, let's do a pre-qualification to make sure that you even qualify for something. And I'll submit you on this particular car based off of your needs and what you tell me you're looking for. And most of the time, I literally show one car and sell it.
Right. Because they trust you,
know,
they like
it's
you.
It's rare that I would have to switch a car, you know, to the banks, but it happens. But yeah, like I said, most of my time, the car is sold before it's showed.
Wow.
So,
And that's because of your brand.
correct.
Wow. So then, with you being a new mom, right, and your schedule is always kind of booked, and I even see you now at Digital Dealer, texting, calling, customers are coming out, calling you, waiting for you to get back, right, because you probably already have 10 to 20 cars sold already by being here in the last 3 days. What is next kind of for Crissy the Car Fairy? Like, you broke in that glass ceiling of number one. I mean, especially, I don't, you know, want to say anything bad for females in automotive, but they say that this, I heard something new, that it's not a male-dominated industry, it's just a overpopulated male industry. And I like that because it's true, and you are number one in what you do because of your brands and everything. So what's next for you? What are you doing next?
So what's next is honestly being here. Like, this is next. This is, you know, I'm honored that I'm able to even come on stage and just speak and talk about, you know, being in the automotive industry, being the car fairy, you know. I'm honored that, you know, I met your dad 2 years ago, and, you know, he basically invited me to, like, my first conference. So I was able to see another side of the automotive industry that I knew nothing about, right? You know, just getting equipped with dealer synergy. So like I said, I came to Hubler Chevrolet to help this company grow.
Right.
And I literally, you know, came in and I got them signed up with dealer synergy, you know.
And now everything's
Yeah.
super
So,
better.
you know, they're training. I'm a part of that platform, you know.
So you're going to still sell cars though, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, good. You make way too much money to stop that, right?
Right. And it's not about the money, but I have my customers, you know, they would be sad if I just said, no, I don't want to do this anymore. So I'm gonna be Crissy the Car Fairy as long as I can.
As long as you can keep
Swindling
swindling
my
your
line.
wand, you're going to
Yep.
be Crissy the Car Fairy. I love that.
So, but yeah, like I said, what's next is, you know, continue to do this, you know, being a part of Dealer Synergy, you know, building the platforms, being a keynote speaker, coming to these conventions. So
Bringing other women up with you.
bringing other women aware. I mean, with me, creating many car fairies all over the world is the end goal.
We want a lot of car fairies out there, a lot of car fairies. Okay, so then one of my last questions for you is, if you had to hit reset, right? You're like, you know what? I want to start over, right? Because some people are like, oh man, if I knew what I knew 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 5 minutes ago sometimes, right? I would be in a much better position than in the future. So if you had to hit a reset button, what would you do differently?
I don't think I would hit a reset button, honestly.
You wouldn't hit the button.
I don't like just being like I said, over these years, it has literally not only helped my customers grow, but it has changed me. You know, my life is so much different. You know, I told you I came into the automotive industry broke.
Right.
You know, I had no sense of direction. I had poor credit. You know, I was not in a good, stable situation for myself, for my kids. But here I am, you know.
Better than ever.
You know, I am. My life is a blessing, you know, and I'm excited. I literally, it's like I manifest a lot for myself. Like, I'm very humble, but I'm like, I do want more for myself. And literally right before I got on the stage, I just won a whole Louis Vuitton bag.
A Louis Vuitton bag. She won a 3,200 Louis Vuitton bag, guys. So
yeah, and that's a part of the process. Why would I hit reset when so many amazing things have been happening for me?
And who would have knew where you'd be if you did hit reset, right?
Right. Yeah, so I have no regrets. I'm excited. I love the fact that, I've been placed here to do what I'm doing. And I'm just excited to continue to grow.
Good. Well then, being a woman, right? Has that helped, do you feel like, in the automotive industry, or do you feel like that's hindered? Because Digital Dealer did an amazing job kind of making an awesome inclusivity when it comes to, they have their women meetup, the women's lunch, the women's party. So do you feel like being a woman in the automotive industry helped or hindered your career?
I mean, it can go both ways. I'm not gonna sit on the stage and lie and say, oh, being a woman is just the best thing ever in this industry.
And that would be a lie.
It's a lot of disadvantages being me. I don't go to work and it's glorious. I have a lot of people that are like, why is she here?
Have you dealt with anything in the past that maybe, like a personal story that maybe being a woman in the industry, you were like, maybe I'm not cut out for this because I am a woman? Unfortunately, like that thought got put in your head.
So, true story, the reason why I don't have help and I don't have assistance is because I've had trial and error where the opposite sex, was brought in to help me, and it always leads to like, I don't want to help her, I don't feel like I need to, and I get it when you have someone who literally has 10 customers waiting on them and you have one or none.
Right.
So I get it. So like I said, being a woman that's dominating is not easy.
Right.
In this industry, but it's also a benefit as well because it's like, I'm a woman that's dominating.
Right. It's almost like I always picture in my head, like when someone says, like when they sell cars, I always picture in my head, for whatever kind of is like holding you back in the industry, imagine if you had like one brick on you, right? So not only are you have to run this marathon with a bunch of men, you're doing it in heels, right? We're in heels.
Literally.
We're doing it with that extra weight of being a woman.
Yeah.
The extra weight of being a minority.
Right.
And that extra weight of, for you even, Crissy, of working with special, special credit finance customers that just need that extra help. Like, you're literally running laps around people with extra, like, bell weights on. You're like, on your left.
And that's literally what I do. I mean, literally, I have an office. I do have my own office, but everyone can't fit in there at the same time, right? So I have a process. Like, if I have 3 or 4 customers there at a time, I am running laps. I'm making sure I'm touching hands with everybody, and letting them know you're not just waiting for no reason.
Right.
So that is what I do.
And you stick to your process to this day.
To this day, it works for me. And is it tiring? Some days, yes. But the end goal is everyone's getting a car. So.
Love it. Well, I do want to open it up for some Q&A because Crissy is absolutely amazing, and I want to see if maybe anybody in the audience has any questions for Miss Crissy. But really quickly, before anybody wants to come up and ask anything, do want to take a second. Crissy and I are part of the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group. We have the largest Facebook group in automotive. There is the code up there. We strictly only have automotive professionals in there simply because Crissy's in groups and she gains customers and knowledge from being in different groups. So we literally have the #1 powerful mastermind group on Facebook, like I said, strictly to only automotive professionals with 25,000 members on there. So definitely scan the QR code, take a picture, have your team join, right? Not only you join, have you and your team join, just because I'm sure, Crissy, there's a lot of people in there that they ask you for advice. They're like, what do I do? How do I make videos? How do I start my brand? And it's absolutely amazing to collaborate and network. So I want to invite anybody up if they do have a question to the mic. See if anybody has any questions. They have a mic there. Doesn't look like anybody has any questions. Well, while we wait for maybe some fine, brave folk to come up and think of some things, Crissy, is there anything that you really wanted to kind of, this is your time on the stage, right? You're an automotive professional, you sell cars right now. What do you want dealers to know, one, about either your brand and how to help their salespeople on the floor, or encourage them? What do you want the dealers to know?
My best advice currently in this current market, because we all know it's not the best, You know, cars are super expensive. Incentives no longer exist like they used to. So I would just say that, you know, to just be encouraged to keep going. You know, a lot of people don't want to deal with special finance. You know, it's a process, but the end goal is it's beneficial.
Right.
You know, I've spoken to a lot of dealerships and they're like, oh no, we don't do subprime, we don't do special finance. And I get it. I've worked with managers who are like, you know, I'd rather not. Because why would I want to spend 2-3 hours on a deal when I know I can just spend a couple minutes? But I definitely encourage dealerships, if you're not doing special finance, like it's so beneficial.
What do you do to market specifically for, like you said in your videos? Are you saying if you have bad credit, come to me? If you're, you know,
Well, I don't like to use the terminology bad. I say challenge,
okay,
you know, because we all have challenges in life. So you have challenge credit, you bring them in. Like I said, if you have systems in place, and I get it, everyone can't do what I do, but a lot of the stuff that I do is simple math, you know, educating your customers, making them feel like that they're just not, you know, a unit.
right, another number on the board.
Yeah, another number on the board. So, but literally, these special finance customers are some of your best customers that I'm seeing. You know, I've built some of the best relationships that I have on personal, not just business, but personal
Right.
as well. So I definitely encourage dealerships to, you know, look into picking up, if they don't have the lenders, pick them up. You know.
And I guess going back to also, you mentioned that you just moved dealerships, right? And your customers follow you. Do you see that a lot because you have built this brand? I know some dealers might be scared, right, to have their individual be built up and then maybe go somewhere else. But just a little personal, you know, side on for your end is, you know, maybe it wasn't the best dealership, right? So would you say if you're encouraged and it's a good dealership who's encouraging you, you would stay, correct?
Absolutely, and the customers will do the same. I mean, they're all about experience. If you give me a good experience with anything in life, I'm going to remember it. I'm going to dedicate myself to you. I'm going to remain loyal. If I get a vehicle and I get into a car accident, I'm going to go right back to that dealership because they gave me a good experience. Why should I have to shop around
Look
or
around
hassle
anywhere
or
else.
look around else when I can just go back, you know, to the place that gave me top tier experience, no
Yeah.
matter what my situation was.
And I guess I would also tell dealers is, I just keep hearing Crissy say process, process, process. I had a process. I want you to go back and I heard you say you have a phone process, you have a internet only, like only online process. You have obviously an in-store process when they come in. So how many different processes do you have? Because that's what I encourage you dealers to do is go back and really see, okay, from day one to literally the end, not okay, they get the customer and then, you know, the salesperson knows what to do. No, it's like, I'm sure, Crissy, a written out process, right? That you guys follow. So how many different processes do you have when it comes to selling cars to customers?
I mean, my process is pretty the same, whether they have challenge credit or good credit. Like I said, for me, I listen to my customers. I figure out exactly what it is, the end goal. What are we trying to do? What are you looking to receive? What features are most important? You know, what color do you really want to drive? You know, what do you have budgeted to pay monthly? What are you going to put down? Stuff like that matters. I can't just guess. You
Right.
know. And then, you know.
You're asking the questions. And I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of salespeople, they don't ask enough questions in their
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, no, they don't. I see it, and like I said, for me, it's just something that I was taught to do, and it's a process that I continue to use because it works for me, and that's why I'm so successful in doing what I do. So,
It looks like we may have one question for you, Crissy.
Yeah, Crissy, car sales is incredible if you know how to play the game right. You know, as a manager, we tell our people, you know, you should treat car sales like it's your own business. And
Right.
that's what both of you ladies have done, is that you didn't just wait for the magic up bus. You basically literally treated it as like your own business. Now, I know Gino, one of your mentors over there, can you talk about how important it is for management to encourage people like you? I mean, you didn't just become you by accident. You have some
Right.
really dope people in your life. Can you share a little bit about Gino, Kyle, for example, your manager, and how having a strong manager that believes in you, that's motivating you, encourage you, could really make a break? Because there's some managers that don't. They say that, but they don't give that encouragement, and they don't ever have the chance to ascend to how you have. Can you talk about that for a minute?
yeah, so Gino Kyle is one of my sales managers, and he's a pretty dope guy. I met him 6 years ago, and he's the reason why I am at this dealership now. And he has the same process. Like, you know, the end goal is to sell a car. You know, he listens to the customers as well. He's very hands-on, and, you know, he's building rapport with me, with my customers. So, and I think that's super important when you have management backing you with that process. You know, because I have worked at dealerships where, you know, management, you know, they just sit behind the desk. You know, they don't really touch hands unless they feel like they're obligated to. I don't have a TL process because I don't need one. But again, I have a manager that will come in, shake a hand, congratulate you, and make you feel like you are of importance, which you are. You gave us business. You gave us the opportunity to give you business. So it's definitely really beneficial having a manager that backs you. And like I said, my mentor, he was my manager too. So like I said, the process is what he taught me, and that's something that I carried on as well, because when we were, you know, when we were working together, that's exactly what it was. So now that I'm somewhere, again, the process is the same. So it's super important when you're working at a dealership to have that back and that support.
Now, and for both you ladies, because Tianna, obviously you at Patriot Buick GMC, there's going to be salespeople that are going to be hating, like, why are you doing that? Why are you playing on social media? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? You know, can you just talk to everybody and tell them that they need to persevere and ignore all the stupid stuff? Because if you listen to everybody, you're going to get what everybody else is getting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I even, you know, even talking to some of the, you know, expo hall, you know, venue guests there too. It's like, I don't understand why in anything in life almost, it's like we laugh at somebody that's like trying. Why do we always laugh at the people that are trying harder? Why do we always pick on the people that are actually want to do more and they actually want more out of what they're getting already? And I think, like you said, you just mentally, and I'm gonna let Crissy answer too, is like mentally you gotta tell yourself, you know, that doesn't matter. I'm here for me, I'm here to build my brand. When I go and I shoot my TikTok videos, my YouTube videos, maybe 4 people are watching, 5 people are watching when I, you know, first post it and things like that. But I imagine that I'm talking to 5 million people. I'm talking to 4 million people. Like, I get into the mindset of this is my brand, this is what I want to do, this is who I am. And I remind myself, like, if people are snickering or they're laughing or they're just, you know, cracking jokes, I tell myself, like, they're trying to validate their excuses for not trying. They're trying to bring me down because they see that I am trying, they see that I'm actually doing something, they see that I'm actually trying to be better than normal, and they want to drag me down with them. So I personally just persevere and I say, you know what, every laugh, every snicker, that almost encourages me to do it more, because it's almost like the more haters you got, you must be doing something right. And it's true when it comes to sometimes, you know, in car sales as coworkers, because like Crissy said, you know, nobody wants to help Crissy because they know she's always going to outsell them. And she knows that too, and that's fine in car sales. You're gonna, obviously, your coworkers, they're gonna be friends, but you're also gonna have frenemies, and just ignore those people that try to drag you for trying. Crissy, what do you do personally when people, or do you even face that at your dealership when you're creating videos and content? Do people encourage you, or do they more kind of give you that side eye, like, what is she doing?
I mean, I get the side eye a lot, and I'm kind of used to it. So, you know, but
And I think we're kind of used to it because we're women, right?
I think so. Honestly, I think it's because we're women.
I'm like, those guys are whatever. They're going to have something to complain about.
Yeah, I've worked at a lot of dealerships where it was just me. I was the only woman, literally. In sales, management, service, I was just the only woman. So I've kind of become accustomed to it.
Right.
You know,
You're used to almost being the only one.
Yeah.
So if you're the only one doing video and people are laughing or doing whatever, it's almost like, okay, like I'm used to being the only one.
Yeah.
And last thing is, because it wasn't clear before, but the question about the ceiling, that's why you created your own training program, correct? So
Correct.
you have your own video-on-demand training, tracking, testing program for automotive professionals to achieve what you've done. Can you explain, like, why, on top of everything else, you decided to do that? Is because you're getting bombarded and it's stopping you from selling cars?
No, honestly, like I said, my goal is to create a lot of fairies all over the world. You know, I want to hear testimonials about people who, you know, have the same passion to, you know, help people on the other side. Like I said, I deal with a lot of customers who are buy here, pay here customers. But honestly, there's a lot of lenders out here and they just don't know it that will give them the opportunity, you know, and it might take a little bit more money down or a little bit more job stability or whatever it looks like, but it's possible, you know, you can do it. So that's why, you know, I am passionate about the platform, because I want more people to understand special finance, the road to sale, like how to properly deal with all types of customers, not just special finance. And then I also want to see more women in the business, because I've seen it gets discouraging, you know, for us, especially if you don't have the proper training. You know, you can't just.
There's different things that we go through as women, especially in the business. That's why I said I'm used to the side eye. I'm used to the chitter chatter. We're used to being the only ones, whether that be minority or women, in the room.
Yeah.
So I almost don't mind that little side eye glance. But I love that you just want to bring up other women and you want to bring up just other automotive professionals, because you still sell cars. You're not going to stop that.
No.
But you are still going to continue to encourage others, and I hope, obviously, like you said, create more Crissy the Car Fairies in every state, right?
Right. That's the end goal.
Okay. Well, Crissy, I thank you so much for joining us on the Digital Dealer stage. I want you guys to definitely come up and scan our QR code, because Crissy was absolutely amazing. We want to have her back on the Keynote stage for when she's selling over 150 cars a month.
Right.
So definitely rate the session so that we can come back next time, okay? Thanks, Crissy.
Thank you, T.
Appreciate it.
Bradley On Demand is the automotive industry's #1 24/7 interactive training, tracking, testing, and certification program. Bradley On Demand is for you. Someone looking for anything from professional development to work-life balance, financial freedom to controlling your own schedule, and so much more. Now, if you're like most leaders, your people aren't as successful as they'd like to be, or as you'd like them to be. With Bradley On Demand, that'll be a thing of the past, and don't believe us. Take their word for it.
I have found Bradley On Demand to be extremely valuable.
I can't say enough, the content is endless on there, as well as the interaction with Dealer Synergy's team.
He advanced us light years ahead of our competition, so extremely happy. Thank you.
And in turn, we're up 40 to 50 cars a month. God, I hope everybody does this.
Brought to you by Dealer Synergy, Bradley On Demand has over 500 hours of powerful curriculum. We have 1,500 active rooftops, trained hundreds of thousands of automotive professionals all over the world, and have assisted our clients in generating over $1.5 billion of additional revenue. With over 8,000 modules and more than 150 guest instructors, we have everything you'll need to sell more cars, more often, and more profitably. Meet our chief instructors, Sean V. Bradley, CSP, Karen Bradley, and L.A. Williams. But wait, there's more. Not only are numerous best-selling authors on here, such as Shep Hyken and Dr. Willie Jolly, not to mention an Emmy Award-winning composer for his creation of the HBO theme song, Ferdinand J. Smith. But we have exclusive training content from the world's #1 car salesman, Cody Carter. Cody doesn't just single-handedly outsell most dealerships. He also has his own platform inside Bradley On Demand, Sell Like Cody. And if that's not enough, meet Tianna Mick, or as you may know her, T Got Your Keys. Tianna offers some of the most advanced digital training, and her website is regarded as the world's #1 website for an automotive sales professional. Bradley On Demand is also proud to be a part of Cardone On Demand. That's right, Sean V. Bradley and Grant Cardone have joined forces to create the Voltron of automotive sales training content, putting us in over 800 rooftops on Cardone On Demand. But that's not all. We have exclusive content from incredible brands such as Google, Facebook, Franklin Covey, BombBomb, and so much more. We offer courses on everything from showroom sales, sales management, phone sales, BDC, and CRM. And speaking of CRM, there is no other training program for CRM mastery like Bradley On Demand. In addition to having the Vin Solutions team create training modules exclusively for Bradley On Demand, Sean V. Bradley has traveled numerous times to Vin Solutions headquarters in order to discover the most cutting-edge strategies for CRM. We have an entire library of exclusive content from BombBomb, focusing on advanced video creation and video mastery. And if all that's not enough, Bradley On Demand is fun. We turn dealership training into a game. There's a leaderboard to drive your sales team to success through competition. But don't feel left out. You'll be able to view all of their progress thanks to our report cards and analytics. And no game is complete without a way for the players to communicate. Inside our platform is a community, kind of like an internal Facebook, which gives your team the opportunity to share in their successes. Speaking of success, the top people in any industry are certified. Our certifications ensure your team have been trained properly and efficiently. Once they're certified, that's not it. With our favorites feature, they can easily save their favorite modules to re-experience, because training isn't something you did, it's something you do. And if you forget to save a module, our search engine is a quick way to find exactly what you need. Still don't think this sounds like the right fit? We'll make it fit. Bradley On Demand allows free and complete customization for your dealership that lets you create the dealer-specific training your team needs. And thanks to our file vault, storing and having access to important documents has never been easier. Interactive on-demand training is awesome. However, we wanted to add a live touch. So all of our Bradley On Demand clients get free access to our Dealer Synergy Academy classes. Conducted by Dealer Synergy subject matter experts, these live trainings are designed to help you solve real problems in real time for everything from price, inventory, CRM, and marketing. Every dealership has problems. Not getting enough appointments, not making enough money, time management, overpaying, broken CRMs, low CSI. Bradley On Demand addresses all of these and more. We even offer a full program for receptionists in BDC hosted by Tony Ann Fardette called the $1 Billion Girl. Not only do we have the world's best automotive trainers, we have frontline dealer principals, GMs, record-breaking sales individuals, and owners of billion-dollar dealer groups. With roughly 20 years of being the automotive industry's best, Bradley On Demand is what you need to become an automotive guru. So don't worry. Any problem you have, you can solve it by reaching out to us for a free needs analysis, strategy session, and demo of our platform. But if you're ready to start right now, then stop watching this video. Go to bradleyondemand.com and give your team access to the best automotive training in the world.